Okay, so when you think of a powerful CEO, you're probably picturing a boardroom, right? High stakes meetings, billion-dollar deals, that kind of thing. But what if we took all that away and instead we put them face to face with a pile of laundry? I know, it sounds weird, but trust me, this little thought experiment tells us so much more than you'd think.
Yeah, that's right. A simple, totally normal chore suddenly becomes this incredible character test. I mean, what does doing a load of laundry actually tell us about who they are when the power suit comes off? You'd be surprised.
At the end of the day, the whole thing really boils down to this huge contrast. You got the public image on one side, power, control, authority, all that jazz. And then on the other side, you've got the reality, chores, detergent, the mundane stuff of life. And it's in that space between those two worlds that we find out what a character is really made of. So using laundry as our, let's call it a character lens, we can actually break this down into 5 really distinct profiles. You can think of them as 5 little case studies in our investigation here.
All right, let's dive into number 1. This is the kind of leader who, just seems to have it all together, no matter what's thrown at them. We're going to call this one the composed type.
So the real key to getting the CEO is all in their mindset. See, for them, laundry isn't a chore. Nope. It's just life management. It's another task they handle with the exact same calm, step-by-step logic they'd use in a board meeting. Picture this. They're probably in neat loungewear. They're sorting the colors perfectly. They've calculated the wash and dry times down to the minute. And oh, you can bet they've done their research on the best detergent brands out there. For them, power isn't about having people wait on you. It's about being incredible at managing yourself.
Okay, on to our second profile. This one takes that same idea of control, but spins it in a totally different way. If the first CEO is all about being composed, this next one is all about pure, unadulterated optimization. Let's meet the efficiency type. For this CEO, life is basically one big system that needs to be optimized. And laundry? Well, that's just another workflow to perfect. They're not just doing laundry, you see. They are engineering a process. They've got a set day for it every week, probably have a smart washing machine they can control with their phone, and they're definitely multitasking, maybe listening to meeting recordings while it's all happening. Every single step is designed to maximize output. It's kind of the perfect picture of a mind that just has to put a structure on, well, everything. All right, brace yourself, because we're about to take a hard left turn with our third profile. This one is huge. It's pivotal, really, because it's the first time we see the cracks start to show in that perfect CEO image. So let's say hello to the reality shock type. This is it. This is the moment where that protective bubble just shatters. For what might be the very first time they're faced with a basic life skill they have never, ever had to deal with. You can just see them, right? Hesitating, maybe even sneakily Googling how to use a washing machine. They have no idea how much soap to put in. And then it hits them. That huge, dawning realization, wait a second. Someone else has always done this for me. And yeah, they might totally ruin a load of whites. But here's the thing. That's not failure. That's actually the very first step toward real growth, toward becoming self-aware.
Okay, number 4. This one adds a really fascinating layer of complexity. This is the CEO who's one person in public, but something completely different behind closed doors. We're calling this one the contrast type. So this is the CEO who's super assertive, super decisive at work, but then they get home and apply that exact same intensity to, say, folding their t-shirts perfectly. They're the type to study the care instructions on a sweater like it's a legal contract. See, in their head, being competent isn't about where you are. The ability to do something right applies to everything. And it's that contrast, between the tough-as-nails public persona and this super careful, private meticulousness. That's what makes a character feel so real, so three-dimensional. And that brings us to our 5th and final profile. After all those, let's call them quirks, this one just feels the most grounded, the most, well, adult. This is the mature realist. Yeah, this is the one that just feels like a fully formed person. Sure, they're a CEO, but they also just live independently. They do their own laundry, clean their own space, maybe they even cook for themselves. They don't need an entourage to keep up their image. Their power doesn't come from being served. It comes from a really deep sense of responsibility. The whole CEO thing, that's just their work mode. In their actual life, they're just a stable, reliable, self-sufficient human being. Okay, so we've gone through all 5 profiles. What's the big takeaway here? What does all of this mean?
Well, when you see a character who's supposed to be this larger-than-life, powerful figure suddenly doing their own laundry, it's way more than just a chore. It's a sign of this really deep journey they're on, from just playing a role to actually living in reality.
And we can actually map that journey out. A character might start out as just a role, the untouchable CEO. And that role is usually built on dependence, having other people handle all the basic stuff. That's what makes them a flat, kind of fictional trope. But the second they start handling those little details themselves, they start moving towards self-reliance. And that's when they finally transform into a real person.
Let's make it even simpler. Think of it like this. The trope gets its power from being served. The real person gets their power from being self-reliant. The trope is dependent. The real person is independent. At the end of the day, the trope is all about maintaining an image, while the real person is all about taking responsibility.
And look, this whole idea isn't just about characters in a story. This whole analysis tells us something really powerful about what maturity looks like in the real world, too.
Because it really all comes down to this. True authenticity, true strength, it's got nothing to do with how powerful or important you look on the outside. It's all about whether you can live independently, take responsibility for your own life, and face all those little necessary details head on. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought to chew on. Think about the people in your own life. Beyond their job titles, beyond their public face, what are the small, unseen things they do? The laundry, the dishes, all that stuff. What do those little actions tell you about who they really are?